All right, well, hello and welcome to Grand Rounds for the Minnesota Regional Spinal Cord Injury Model System, or what we call MINSCIMS for short. And we want to thank you all for joining us today. MINSCIMS is funded by the National Institute on Disability, Independent Living, and Rehabilitation Research, or NIDILRR, to support innovative projects and research in the delivery, demonstration, and evaluation of medical, rehabilitation, vocational, and other services to meet the needs of individuals with spinal cord injuries. Next slide.
Should have practiced this.
There we go. MINSCIMS represents an exciting new partnership among the following institutions: Courage Kenny Rehabilitation Institute, Minneapolis, Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Regents Hospital in St. Paul, and the University of Minnesota in Minneapolis. Next slide. Our community collaborators include Minnesota Spinal Cord Injury Association, Unite to Fight Paralysis, Get Up to Stand Up to Cure Paralysis, the Paralyzed Veterans of America, the United Spinal Association, and the North American Spinal Cord Injury Consortium. This system collectively provides a multidisciplinary continuum of care for people with spinal cord injury, including emergency medical services, acute care services, acute rehabilitation services, and post-acute services. My name is Dr. Kimberly Mondin, and I will be the moderator for today's session. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Rehab Med at the University of Minnesota Medical School, and I'm a co-project director of the MINSCIMS with Dr. Leslie Morse. Next slide, please. A few housekeeping notes to get us started. The University of Minnesota has organized the CME for today's webinar. Please see the chat for information on how to record your attendance and claim CME credit for attending this webinar within 24 hours of the event. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the MINSCIMS website. To earn CME credit for today's presentation, please click on the link in the chat. Due to the number of registrants for today's webinar, we have placed phone lines on mute to reduce audio feedback. However, we welcome and encourage audience participation using the chat and Q&A functions. If you have technical or logistical questions, we ask that you submit those in the chat to Dan Kelly, who will be monitoring the discussion. We extend a huge thanks to Dan Kelly at the University of Minnesota, who works behind the scenes to make these webinars possible. Next slide. The title of today's presentation is Introduction to a Longstanding Community-Based Spinal Cord Injury Recovery Rehabilitation and Wellness Program in Rochester, Minnesota, ExercisAbilities. Our speaker for today is Dr. Melanie Brennan. Dr. Brennan is founder and CEO of ExercisAbilities, a nonprofit outpatient rehabilitation and adaptive health and fitness center in Rochester, Minnesota. She founded ExercisAbilities in 2011 to provide opportunities for people with neurologic injuries and medical disorders to assess expert rehabilitation and wellness care in the community, including intensive neurological recovery and innovative adaptive strategies. Dr. Brennan is a graduate of the Doctor of Physical Therapy program at the College of St. Scholastica in Duluth, Minnesota. Her 25 years of experience includes 11 years as a spinal cord injury rehabilitation team member at Mayo Clinic, Rochester. In her current role as a clinic administrator, she strives to inspire her staff of rehab therapists, exercise specialists, health coaches, and therapeutic recreation therapists to create a long-term roadmap to recovery and wellness for each client to support their lifelong journey toward optimal health. Next. Dr. Brennan, welcome and thank you for presenting with us today.
Thank you for that introduction. I will say that our air conditioning just turned on and is right above me. So is the sound still okay?
The sound is still good.
Okay, good. Thank you. Well, I'm excited to present to you today. Thank you for having me. ExercisAbilities is my passion and it has been my work for the past 11 years. And I always love to have an opportunity to share everything that we're doing for the spinal cord injury community. So we'll get started. And I have no conflicts of interest other than I am the founder and executive director here at ExercisAbilities. All right, so ExercisAbilities was founded in 2011. We are located in Rochester, Minnesota. We're on North Broadway, for those of you familiar with Rochester. And we've been located here in our building. We have about 15,000 square feet total in our building here, as well as the building adjacent to us. We lease some space there. And we've been here since 2017. Just the size and scope of what we do, we're very busy. We've grown over the 11 years of being in existence from 1 patient to now we see over 2,000 visits per month. We have 30 employees and we started with 1. And we have more than 100 volunteers each year, as well as student interns. We have a huge student internship program. And by design, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We are all about our mission. We love to make healthy, happy, and independent possible. We have a very strong vision for our community, that which we believe that optimal health will be achieved when all people have access to ongoing lifelong therapeutic health services, especially when they need it at the right time and in the right place and for the right cost, which is typically to be as affordable as possible. Our value is that we blend therapeutic health solutions in a traditional physical therapy rehabilitation setting that is a gym-oriented space. And so we bring together therapists, licensed therapists, and health professionals together in one program to really be here lifelong for the individual if that's what they need and desire. Our how is that we really make it happen by striving to have a balanced funding portfolio for these services. Obviously, as we'll talk about, and we know that physical therapy, occupational therapy is only funded for so long and by very strict skilled rules. And so we have to be creative to make sure that this is affordable and accessible for everyone. And we have done that over 11 years and we're really happy about how accessible we are financially. And so we're bridging the health gap really together with you guys. I'm so excited to be here today and speaking with so many people in the SCI model centers, because we're really here to bridge from the medical process to the community process of health and wellness. Our goal is to achieve improved health equity. We're here in Rochester, Minnesota. This is where we do that work. But we always work also on a national level, helping to share what we're doing so that hopefully someday all communities will have a health equity access to these types of services when they need it. And really it's those that have physical health support needs beyond skilled therapy. And really there's just, most of these services can't be met at home or in a traditional wellness setting. We really need a specialized setting for the services that we provide and that people need from us. We work hard to achieve no barrier access here at ExercisAbilities. I speak a lot to that because it's very important. We want everyone to be referred here if they need our type of assistance. We'll make sure that it's affordable and accessible for them. As a nonprofit, we do a lot of fundraising to make that financial access possible. We have some processes that we use to navigate the patient through that process to make sure that they have what they need. The first step to that is the EA Health Action Plan. So we really want to meet with the individual, do assessments, thorough assessments when they first come in to see what their goals are. What do they want to work on? And then pair that with what does evidence say they should work on, and come to the middle of designing a program that's individualized for them. We also make sure that we do a financial assessment if that's something that they want. Again, if they are having trouble meeting that plan financially, we want to make sure that we're helping them through our sliding scale fee, our all access pathway. And we do that through a financial assessment that's available to them. And then we have this one team innovation where we blend the physical rehabilitation specialist with the exercise specialist under one roof. We'll talk a little bit more about that through my presentation, but it's really important. That's our philosophy. There's a lot of models out there that do not team therapy with the exercise specialist. We believe that it's important that there is an on-site team because it just helps with that transition. And again, we'll talk about that a little bit more. And so our services that we offer here on a community-based outpatient program is adult rehab, pediatric rehab, and then that health and wellness. And our health and wellness program is our largest program that we have here, so it's quite large. And again, it's a rehab-oriented gym. So our PT, OT, and speech therapist work in the gym. It's a gym atmosphere. It's not medical, it's welcoming. It doesn't look like a medical facility, it looks like a gym. And then we work together with those rehab, with those health and wellness professionals. And we also utilize volunteers, professional volunteers, and students to make healthy happen. And so that helps us with being able to offer the sliding scale fee, but also it helps us contribute to doing good in the community and offering the volunteer opportunities, but also helping with education, which we believe strongly in. And so who's on our team? We call it Therapeutic Health. It's just a big umbrella of therapeutic health. And on that team, we have the PT, OT, and speech therapists. We have personal trainers, and they're specialized. They're certified in inclusive fitness training. They're certified as exercise physiologists. They have 4-year degrees. They are well trained by, we send them to specialized training, but we also train them through our therapist as well on site. So health coaches. So all of our personal trainers are also certified health coaches or working towards their health coaching certification when they come on board. It's very important because we have a philosophy that we want to address physical activity and healthy eating so that their journey is not just about exercise, but it's about whole person wellness. We also have certified recreation therapists on staff. This really helps support leisure and wellness and sports. We really believe that leisure and sport is essential to a healthy life. And so our CTRS team does therapeutic play for children, promotes leisure activities with our participants, also has adaptive sports, which we'll talk a little bit more about, and wellness activities such as classes and camps. On site, we also have a care management supporter. She has a degree in social work services, a master's degree in that, and she helps with any social determinants of health that might be standing in the way of individuals meeting their own personal goals or our health goals that we have for them. And then finally, we have volunteer programs. And so we have a volunteer coordinator who helps coordinate our student learning and professional volunteers, as well as observing students that want to learn about this field, whether it's physical therapy, occupational therapy, or exercise. So programs offered, we offer a lot of programs here. I know today we will move on to talk about our spinal cord injury program, and that's what you're most interested in. But just so that you know, we do a lot of other things here, mostly around chronic disease management and neurologic recovery and wellness. And so for that, we have our neurologic recovery and wellness program. We have a chronic disease management program, balance and dizziness rehab for fall prevention, and really targeting seniors to be healthy and well in the community. As well as a chronic pain rehab and wellness program. We do have a specialized pediatric program. And with that, under all of these umbrellas, we have our adaptive fitness, sports, and leisure recreation program. So spinal cord injury recovery program, what we're here to talk about today. So my background is as a spinal cord injury therapist, and how we started initially in 2011 was to really be focused on spinal cord injury recovery and neurologic recovery activity-based training. And we did that initially, but we found that the community was looking for this for other things, for chronic disease management, for other neurologic diagnoses. So we did grow, and we do serve a wide variety of diagnoses now, but we continue to be very committed to the spinal cord injury population. And so in our recovery and wellness program, we recognize that individuals with SCI often want, require, or will greatly benefit from access to ongoing skilled exercise assistance as either an enhancement to their rehab care. So we can work in additional, if they're still working in specialized acute at a specialty SCI center, we can work to enhance that. Maybe they're only able to go once a week, or they're only qualified, skilled to go once a week. They could go ahead and start our program at any time, and we'll work in coordination with those therapists and our exercise program. But also as a transition, and we'll say the word transition a lot today, we are really here to help securely transition individuals to the community, community wellness philosophy, to embrace that exercise and wellness should be something that, one, they have to learn that it's new, it's different. They have to have accessible equipment and accessibility to trained individuals. And they, having a atmosphere, a welcoming atmosphere is so important. And so as a transition to supportive wellness after the acute or subacute phase is done, and definitely as that insurance skilled therapy comes to an end, which we all know does happen more quickly in 2022 than it did in the year 2000 when I first started this journey. But it always comes quickly and unexpectedly. And so we're here to help with that transition. And we do call ourselves a rehab-oriented gym. And so it's not just a gym. We don't have memberships, and the general community really doesn't come in here to work out. We're definitely a rehab-oriented gym. With that, we offer a multidisciplinary approach. We have flexible programming and appointment scheduling, from recreation strengthening. So if they just want to keep strong on our specialized equipment, or to an intensive level. So some individuals come 2-3 hours a day, and we can make that happen. We involve that health coaching component. We have access to innovative rehab technologies, which we'll show some pictures of. But my philosophy is I work really hard to get grants out in the community, donations. We do fundraisers to purchase the same equipment and have it available that you guys have in those specialty centers. We want them to be available in the community. They shouldn't stop having access to body weight support just because they leave that acute center. And then lastly, affordability. We are a nonprofit committed to making sure that anyone that wants this service has access to it. Go away. Pardon me. There. A multidisciplinary team. It does include physical, and I say this kind of repetitively because sometimes this seems to be a barrier. But really, to change the conversation, it's a positive. It's a positive that we have neurotherapists here to strengthen our multidisciplinary team on site. We can partner directly with the SCI system model system team and bridge that communication to our wellness team to create and oversee a safe and effective transition to that post-rehab recovery, that community wellness. We can make sure that they have a successful journey to optimal health, maximal independence, and the highest quality of life possible, and really help the whole team focus on the person-centered goals, as well as that evidence-based care, which is so important. We want to also ensure that referral back to the medical specialist and the SCI model center therapist happens when medically indicated. So you can be assured that our participants that are here, if they need you, when they need you, we will help communicate that and send them back. And then lastly, just providing that community-based therapy. We have front door parking, we have convenient same week appointments, we have classes, we have a gym-like atmosphere that's not medical, and we have a welcoming environment that includes staff, students, and volunteers that represent our individuals' community. That's powerful. It helps them stay on the wellness journey. And that's why having therapists on site is very important and also highly recommended in these type of settings. We'll go through I have some pictures to show you guys kind of what happens here, what our space looks like, and who's doing this work here so that you feel comfortable when you have patients that are coming here. So we have group wellness, adaptive strength and conditioning classes, and health coaching classes that we offer, as well as one-on-one training. And this is our health and wellness staff. They are NRN trained therapeutic health and exercise specialists. They are trained in all of the neuro equipment, from FES cycling to body weight support to locomotor training. And here's just a kind of a list of some of that innovative equipment that we have that your patients can have access to in the community. And so we do have an RT300 FES system. We have those neuro-trained, NRN trained specialists for activity-based exercise. We have a TheraCycle, a med bike version that's a motorized bike for the lower body, very popular. We do use vibration therapy a lot, and I'll tell you, through the years, I've been amazed with the recovery that I've seen in even complete spinal cord injury, because we have a body weight system over our vibration platform, large vibration platform, and we involve vibration therapy in the recovery and have seen sensation, bowel and bladder, things return that were unexpected. And I really lean a lot of that on the vibration therapy. Body weight support treadmill. We also have an eye care system, which is a body weight support elliptical. Not something that's super common. It's a fairly new invented product from Madonna Rehab, but we love it. We don't use our treadmill that much anymore because the eye care really, it decreases the amount of staff that are required. It's a little safer for patients to get on and off of and to utilize, but we also see improved carryover of gait, overground gait, when individuals use the eye care versus locomotor training. We haven't researched that, it's just anecdotal, but we really like using the eye care system. And then we have accessible aerobic equipment such as the SciFit upper and lower body system. We have 2 total gyms that we utilize, upright rowing system, tons of accessible strength equipment. We have a HUMAC balance trainer, so it's similar to a Biodex system to work on balance, high-level balance, and other FES technologies. And really, all this is because we want to make innovative and advanced therapy that's usually pretty expensive available in the community. It's just, again, some pictures of individuals on our body weight support treadmill, on our vibration system with a harness, as well as a picture of an individual on the eye care system there in the middle. We do also have a pediatric program. And so here's just a few pictures, but really across the gamut, we have PT, OT, speech, but also we have infused that therapeutic play, recreation therapy, exercise specialty into that program for neuro recovery. And so we have a trained rec therapist in that program. We do everything from autism to physical, spinal cord injuries, CP, Down syndrome, and we do a great job. And our gym that we have designed specially for the pediatrics is for ages 0 to 12. It's really fun, lots of swings and climbing things and play equipment, toys, and specialized therapists that really care about this neurologic population. And then when they're about 12, 13, or 14, they actually come over to our adult building, and we have a teen program here. And so the teens really mimic the availability of programming mimics the adults. And so they have access to the PTs, the OTs, some speech therapy here, but also really integral is our Fit for Play program. And so that Fit for Play program goes from 0 to 18. It's a recreational therapist that really focuses on their diagnosis or their condition and makes play possible. Whether it's play-based or school-based or sports-based, we can work one-on-one, or we also have small groups available. And it just really make therapy a fun experience when it's beyond the skilled. Again, which happens too soon these days with insurances, but when we can't bill for insurances, we want them to keep going and still have access to these great facility and these great individuals that help them stay healthy and well. And then it's up to sports and recreation. So we are a Craig Nielsen Foundation grantee, as well as a Christopher Reeve Foundation grantee, Christopher and Dana Reeve. Super proud of that, super excited. They've helped us build a wheelchair basketball program, which we are very excited about. We actually are a team with Courage Kenny to provide the Southeast Minnesota Med City Rollers here in Rochester. And by teaming, I mean just that they've been helping us sharing information and knowledge, and they're excited that we have a team now forming in Southeast Minnesota. So they'll have somebody to come play down here, or we can go up there and play. We have a youth team and an adult team that's growing. Right now, they're a little bit combined because of numbers, but we would love for you to share the news about our wheelchair basketball team. They are getting ready to practice again in the fall. We will have practices in the evenings. And we actually, August 20th, have which I need to get the information out to some of my Mayo colleagues. We have a free clinic coming up where we can introduce people to the sport. We have wheelchairs because of these wonderful grants that we have. We have wheelchairs that people can use. We're looking at continuing to fundraise to purchase more chairs. And we also have volunteer opportunities here in Rochester. And so there's many of your colleagues at Mayo Clinic that are volunteering with us, either medical students or physicians or therapists that are coming out and helping us and learning how to coach wheelchair basketball, which is really fun. We also do have an adaptive strength and conditioning program. We found that that's a huge need in the community. And again, for individuals, especially if they're at school or work during the day, in the evening from 5 to 7, they can come in and participate in a group class, adaptive strength and conditioning. And we have, again, skilled trainers there to help. I know Todd, when he talks, he's been started participating in it a little bit here, so he could speak to it. But really just helping them design a program and really work on safe strength training, as well as conditioning, again, outside of the therapy model. We've recently started an adaptive gaming program, which is getting up and running. And we really hope to continue to assess the needs of the community for Paralympics type of strength and conditioning, as well as other sports. We're happy to continue to facilitate. We're looking at maybe adaptive, helping to facilitate through partnerships, adaptive tennis, adaptive football. And there's so many sports that could be developed down here in Rochester that we do not have. So always a question about payment. I'm not going to get kind of in the weeds too far about this, because we really just want you to refer people that need this type of community program, and then know that we'll help make sure it's affordable and accessible. But we have a lot of ways that they pay for it. So obviously at the top of skilled therapy, we are super critical in following Medicare and Medicaid rules of skilled therapy. And sometimes they still need it from a community perspective, even though at the medical center, it might be considered to be almost done or done. From that level, know that we approach it from a bit of a different approach, because we are working on community transition to wellness. And often that can still be skilled at a certain level. And so sometimes we do see them for PT or OT a little bit longer, just working from that different perspective. But on average, maybe 3 to 8 sessions for somebody who's been in the system for a long time, just to, again, get them transitioned, focus on some things that maybe from a community focus needs to be focused on. And then we do integrate them immediately over to our exercise and wellness program. And then in that program, we have a lot of different ways that we can help people access funding. We are a 245D Minnesota Home and Community-Based Services Program. If you don't know what that is, no worries, but it is a state program that individuals of low income with Medicaid have access to waiver payments for health and well-being services through their CADI waiver, the DD waiver, or other waivers. And so we actually work with the county, and many of our participants can access this type of funding, so that coming here is completely free. Again, if they qualify for Medicaid and wellness services. And this is with our trainers, is not with our therapists. So it has to be unskilled therapy at that point. Fee for service. Yes, definitely. We're a nonprofit. We're also a business. We have to pay our bills. So it does cost money for us to provide services, from the lights to the staff to insurance. So definitely, to access our trainers, there is a fee, but I will say it is extremely affordable. Should cost about $140 an hour. We charge for individuals for a straight up one-to-one service $83, which again is almost half the market rate for something as specialized as this. And then from there, we provide a sliding scale fee. So we definitely look at individuals and their ability to pay, but we also look at a diversified program. So not everything is one-on-one. Some things are group, some things are small group, maybe 2 people to 1 trainer. Some things are medium-sized groups, 4 people to 1 trainer, and some are larger classes, or something like wheelchair basketball. So we really try to get people into what meets their needs from the person-centered goals and the evidence-based care. And then lastly, that sliding scale fee is provided by a wonderful grant that we recently received from the Harper Family Foundation. It's called the Harper Family Foundation All Access Pathway to Health and Wellbeing at EA. Big long word. But essentially, that is helping to fund our sliding scale fee, in addition to our fundraising and grants that we get. And so we want to make sure that people come and aren't turned away because they don't have the ability to pay. But we also aren't just for people who don't have an ability to pay. We want this program to be for everyone. That's why our facility is really great. Our staff is really great. We want everyone to come. And so as we kind of wrapping up this on the last few minutes, we love research. And so that's part of because I love research, but I love that we can be a facility because we're so unique and innovative. We can be a facility for those in the academic setting or the research setting to prove a hypothesis here. We have lots of participants that love to help you with your research. And so this is just a list of some of the research programs we've been involved in the past few years. We are currently a member of EFAR, which is working with the pain program at Mayo Clinic. And it is an NIH funded grant. And it's a proof of concept study to treat negative effect in chronic low back pain. So again, that's in our chronic pain program. But we also did our own traumatic brain injury study recently through the Minnesota TBI Research Fund. And that was 2020 to 2021, so it was during COVID. It was a little bit of a rocky road, but we were able to at least get 8 completers. And on the next slide, I'll show you, we did a poster presentation at the TBI National Conference in June in DC. The backpack study is working with Autism Fitness, and the Mayo, previously known as Dana Autism Program, works with us. We're getting ready to restart that now. We're really excited because COVID put that on hold. We're going to be restarting that this fall. Kid Shape is an obesity program for children. We also do have an obesity program for adults called the Diabetes Prevention Program, which we actually are a CDC research site for, and I didn't put that on here. And then we are getting ready to start a study with Dr. Yu Shi, who is going to be looking at proton beam therapy and into children going through proton beam therapy and their response to therapeutic play fitness program, which we're really excited to get started with that. So that's just an example. We don't have a lot of SCI research happen in the last few years. It's definitely something we are very interested in and have been out there talking about that we'd love to be a site for SCI research as well. And this is, sorry, so tiny. Posters get very tiny on a Zoom PowerPoint, but this is our poster. We did collaborate with Winona State University. So we are definitely a collaborator. We don't have our own access to, we don't have any PhDs on staff and everything that's required to do a study. And so we love to be that clinical site. We have the doctors of physical therapy, as well as the exercise physiologists that can help with the study, but we love to partner. And on this particular study, we partnered with Winona State, again, as well as the TBI Research Fund of Minnesota. So access to our services, again, just to kind of wrap up, because it's always a question, how do we send people? So we love provider referrals. We love therapy referrals. We love home care referrals, any referrals. Of course, people trust going somewhere if the person that they trust first refers them. A medical referral actually is not required to start our program. Physical therapy, occupational therapy, and of course, exercise has direct access in Minnesota, but we welcome it and we love it. And again, there's a few insurances that still require it. That in particular is Medicaid. Minnesota Medicaid still requires it. So people can come without a referral and we'll help them get that. Definitely, if it's skilled therapy, we communicate with their physician closely. We send plan of cares, but also we want to know who the medical team is, even if they come directly to our exercise program, because we want to help to communicate and make sure that the medical team, if that is something that's desired, knows what's going on. We utilize our e-health action plan process. So again, just a referral to this program called Therapeutic Health or physical therapy to get started. Our process definitely has everyone get a physical therapy evaluation with us. Again, we don't consider that any double work or anything. We consider that essential work because our physical therapists are coming from a different perspective. It's definitely something that's reimbursable to insurance. We're coming to that transition perspective, that community-based perspective, which is different than the medical center perspective. And so we want our physical therapists to have that assessment to just help that safe and effective transition happen so that our physical therapists know all of the participants, our clients, they know what's going on, and they can continue to tweak things throughout when it's the right time. So episodic therapy on site. Again, it's convenient. It's what's best for the patient. And with that, we make sure we do a financial assessment again. If that's something, we offer it. If they don't want it, then that's fine. But we try to get that financial assessment on everyone that says, oh, this is a little expensive, because we want to make sure that they don't turn around and walk out the door because of that. We want them to come meet their goals. We want everyone who walks in the door and are ready for change, are ready to make that happen. We want them to be able to stay and meet their goals. And with that, we have that available sliding scale fee. And then or we look at, see if they have a Medicaid waiver. If none of those apply, there is fee for service for what we do. Again, we work with them on what meets their needs and goals. And ultimately, we want to serve everyone. So if they need our services, again, there are traditional wellness facilities, and I can speak to Rochester, and I know I can also kind of roughly speak nationwide or statewide. Our traditional wellness centers aren't set up to the level that these patients deserve. They're not set up to receive that care or provide that care. So they don't have the rehab equipment. They don't have the trainers that are truly trained and skilled in this. And so my belief, they don't have the physical therapist on staff to make sure it's safe and effective and to provide that level of care when needed. And so there's no one else, there's no competition in this. We're the only ones providing this care in Southern Minnesota. And so we'd love to make sure people know that we're here and who we are, so that we can help them achieve those high goals. This is a little bit about what patients or participants are saying about us. We have a very high NPS, Net Promoter Score. We survey all of our patients on a regular basis, our participants on a regular basis. And so these are some 10s that we got. The availability of equipment for use, the cordial nature of the staff, the attention that was given to me, and the resources deployed is why this person gave us a 10. Also, John was extremely impressed with the patients that us, the PTs and the trainers provided. And I'll tell you, our staff are pretty special. They're very patient and they're very skilled in what they do. And the last one, clients are treated with respect and compassion in a dignified and professional setting. And so very proud of that response. Hopefully I didn't talk too fast. I think I'm right on schedule. So to contact us, if you're in Southern Minnesota, or if you have somebody in the Twin Cities that is from Rochester and coming back to this location, but I will say we have people travel from a long ways away, and Todd will speak to that, but we do also see people from as far as central Wisconsin, northern Iowa, even northwestern Iowa, and kind of south of the Twin Cities over to western Minnesota. We have people come when they're just in town with Mayo, and so from Chicago or all over the world. When they're here, they'll come here for their exercise, to make sure, because why sit in the hotel room and do nothing? Why not come here and work out and exercise while you're here? And so we have a lot of people come from all over. But this is how to contact us. We do take fax orders still, or you can just call us. Have your staff call us. Lots of available information on ExercisAbilities.org. And so,
right.
Yeah, here's Todd.
Hi.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your excellent presentation. And as people are typing questions into the chat, I'd like to introduce our discussant, Todd, today. And Todd, do you pronounce your last name Deegan or Degan?
Dagan.
Dagan, okay. Thank you. So Todd Dagan is from Spirit Lake, Iowa, and travels over 2 hours one way to attend ExercisAbilities programming. On September 2nd, 2019, Todd fainted in his home and hit his forehead on the counter in his kitchen. As soon as he hit the floor, he was awake and could not move anything. He had surgery the next day and was found to have damaged his spinal cord at C3 to 4. This was complicated by spinal stenosis at C4, 5, and 6. After 2 weeks at Avera Hospital in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Todd was flown to Craig Hospital in Denver, Colorado, where he had rehabilitation for 3 months. From there, he went to QLI in Omaha, Nebraska for another 3 months. Todd returned home in the spring of 2020, and after a slight delay with COVID onset, he began attending therapies going between Barwis in Colorado and ExercisAbilities in Rochester, Minnesota. He has made great improvement from not being able to do anything on his own to now walking some with a walker. Todd, we want to thank you for joining us today and give you the opportunity to add to your story or ask any questions.
Well, my story was pretty much told there, I guess. Yeah, it took kind of a lot of my thought away. Excuse me. But no, I've been to quite a bit of therapy. And as my story said, I did go to the Mayo for 6 months also for therapy, traveling back from Iowa. But anyway, I was referred here by a friend, and I've been very happy here. Like Melanie said, the therapists and the students are very, very well trained and very well personable and nice. I couldn't be happier. They got nice machines here that when I first looked here, that I was interested in. That eye care machine is really beneficial. And that's part of the reason I came here, but they do also specialize on my walking. I probably let my upper body go a little bit because I was so intense on walking, and which what I like here. But as she said, the evening course that they do here, I started that I've been in 2 sessions, and it really helps my upper body, which like I said earlier, I kind of let that go because I worked on my lower body. But that is really helping me get my strength back in my chest and my arms. And the use of my hands is very minimal. So I'm still in a power chair. So I haven't been able to use a manual chair. I have one, but it's an older one that's really heavy. So me and my wife have discussed whether the next time I buy a chair, if we'll go to a manual. And that's, I guess, still the jury's out on that. But I guess in closing, because I'm not a big talker, I like to ask questions, not talk. And I'm interested in people, so I ask them a lot of questions. But anyway, in closing, I guess I'm going to stay here as long as they'll have me and work on my walking. And it's really nice. I have a cousin that lives here, so he boards me and my wife for free. So I guess I can't beat that. But no, I like it here, and the evening class has really been working good with my upper body. I am fighting some chronic back pain, which I hope to try to get that fixed somehow. And I guess that's basically all I've got to say.
Thank you so much. And thank you again for joining us today.
Yeah.
Melanie, there's a few questions in the Q&A for you. So I will read those out to you. So the first question is, who works to design the desired programs?
Yeah, so that is very much a team approach. It's definitely initiated and led by our physical therapist initially, and their communication back to any medical team or other therapists that are involved in the case, as well as if occupational therapy is needed in that picture, definitely have the occupational therapist weigh in on it. And then on their first visit, our process is that they get their physical therapy evaluation and OT if it's needed for the diagnosis. And then they always get a free consultation with our therapeutic health specialist. And our training team, our exercise specialty team is called the Therapeutic Health Specialist. And so they get a free screening in which their person-centered health goals are assessed by the exercise specialist as well from a health coaching lens. And then the PTs and the therapeutic health specialists get together and really come up with this EA health action plan, which is where all their person-centered goals are on one sheet. And yeah, and then that helps design their plan of action. So whether they see PT once a week and they're going to do that for 8 weeks, so they're going to maybe wait and see where their progress is from a skilled potential. They see therapeutic health twice a week and maybe that they need one-on-one or that they can participate in groups. We introduce those to them if it's appropriate. And then the plan is it's just like so much in medicine. It really depends on their progress. We start out with an initial plan. It definitely changes or it modifies as they go. One thing I didn't talk about is that we have a proven process that we've created called the safe leveling system. Very, very important to how we provide that plan. And so if an individual has a minimal functional limitation, then they don't have to have one-on-one. They can participate in a small group or maybe just one of our group classes or maybe go straight to wheelchair basketball. We would do that based on their needs and their level. Or if somebody has a maximal functional limitation, so a severe functional limitation, oftentimes our cervical spinal cord injuries is considered that because of requiring more staff to achieve exercise, to achieve that same exercise. So we, in our program, if you need 2 staff to help you complete a safe and effective workout, to lift weights, to sit on the edge of the bed, work on your balance, stand or walk, we schedule 2 staff with them, and it doesn't cost any more. It's the same price. Or if you're on the sliding scale fee, you might only be paying $20 for that, but you're getting 2 staff for that full hour. And that's all based on our safe leveling system that kind of ties together with the person-centered goals. Obviously, if they don't want to work on walking, they don't want to get out of their chair, they're just working on upper body strengthening, they wouldn't require 2 staff, because that we could do with 1 person. So we kind of put it all together. It seems complex, but at the end of the first day or in the first week, for sure, we come up with a plan.
Great. Thank you. The next question we have is, what research guidelines are driving your exercise prescription and planning?
Oh, goodness. Like thousands and thousands. There's so much evidence that physical activity and exercise is essential to health. And there's so much research that it's more essential to individuals with functional limitations. So their bodies deteriorate faster than if they didn't have a neurologic event on board. And we know this, right? Y'all know this. You're professionals in the field. And so there's so much research about it. And really, yeah, there's so many research articles we're reviewing and looking at constantly and daily that show that individuals with physical limitations, with disability, need to exercise more than the general population. So once a week therapy is not enough. It's not enough, because you know that they don't go home and get up and walk because they can't. It takes 4 people for them to walk. So it's not just about walking here. We are not just only in our focused locomotor training facility. We're whole body. We look at the 6 areas of health: social, mental, emotional, physical, nutrition. And so it's about the whole body and making sure they're getting what they need from a health perspective. And the research evidence is really endless.
Great, thank you. And then we had one participant just say, thank you so much for sharing your work and for sharing your story, Todd. And she's curious if you have ever incorporated or considered incorporating acupuncture in your therapeutic strategies. She said it could be very powerful with SCI and neuromodulation.
Yes, I have done dry needling, 3 different therapists, and a couple of them put stem on it. And but I then recently done some lower back stem without, or excuse me, dry needling without stem, but I haven't had a whole lot of effect from stem, or I'm sorry, dry needling again. I keep mixing that up, but I have tried it. Yes.
Yeah. So I, as the founder and I kind of the business leader here, it is not my intention to do everything for this population in the way that I really lean on community partners for a lot. So my philosophy is to fill gaps when there's a gap that's missing. We have a lot of great acupuncturists in the town of Rochester in southern Minnesota, as well as dry needling. And so at this time, that is not an area that we have chosen to focus on. But as well as we don't have massage therapists, we've thought about it. We don't have a chiropractor in-house, we've thought about it. But honestly, we just love partnering with people in the community. And there's many great chiropractors that we can refer to. There's many great massage therapists that we can refer to. I got 15,000 square feet, but it's pretty much maxed out, isn't it, Todd?
It's busy.
We use every square inch. So there's just some programs that we don't have room for. A 10-year plan. Love to build a gym, a big gym with a basketball court and a pool and everything else, but we don't have that. So there's some limitations. Long story to say, we don't have any acupuncture on site, but we loved a team, including individuals at Mayo who do acupuncture. And so, yeah, definitely. We talk about what other things are available in our practice, and definitely encourage people to seek those out.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Getting lots of questions here, so sorry for the rapid fire.
They're fun. That's good.
What is the average time you're able to get insurance coverage for your SCI clients? Looking for the answer before they shift to fitness/private pay.
Yeah, that's a big fat question, isn't it, Todd?
Yes, it
We struggle with it as much as all of you do. Skilled therapy, what is that? You know, it has to be something that requires the skills of the therapist that nobody else has the skills for. That's what Medicare says word for word. So we do our best to make sure that we are justifying an improvement in areas that require us compared to strength and conditioning. So that neurologic recovery, you know, facilitation of gait and improvements, we walk the line of really making sure that we're billing what's skilled, just like everyone else. And when it comes to strength and conditioning, it does not require the skills of a therapist. And so we need to refer to our trainers. So we definitely don't, I know this, I hear this all the time. In fact, we get stuck in it here ourselves, and I'm always trying to train. It's not skilled therapy ended and now you go to the trainer. No, it's can be symbiotic. It can be at the same time, and it should be at the same time. So if you think about that definition of Medicare, that skilled therapy provided by a skilled therapist and billed to insurance is only the things that require the therapist, and everything else should not be billed. That means we as therapists can't work on strength and conditioning. So then does that mean the person doesn't need strength and conditioning? No, they need it. And they're not doing it at home because they don't have accessible SciFit bike at home. You know, they're tired from traveling 4 hours and their wife's exhausted. And so they're not doing it at home, very little, some, but very little. And we have a lot of research that shows that compliance is an issue, right? Because you're just tired. So coming to the gym makes you do it. And so the answer to that is that it should happen at the same time. So I strongly encourage you all to consider, even when they're still in the model center and they're getting skilled therapy, why aren't they here too on the days that they're not there? They would be getting better faster, because you can't work on unskilled things, which is exercise, which is strength and conditioning, and they still will have some energy left. They should do it. And so refer them early. We don't have to do PT right away. We can just do the exercise. They can be referred for exercise. They don't have to start with our PTs. Typically we do, because typically we get them after they're done with you. But what if we got them before they're done with you? What if you are only seeing them, you're to the point where you're seeing them once a week and they're coming here twice? You would be like, wow, they should keep getting skilled therapy because they're getting better. It's because they're also working on strength and conditioning. We know we have to tax the neural system. We have to load the neural system for recovery to happen. And once a week therapy is not doing that. So I encourage everyone to think about that. Once a week therapy is not doing that. We are not taxing the nervous system enough. So they should be doing it 5 days a week. They should be doing it at least 3 days a week. So work with us. We'll work with the therapist. Our therapists don't have to start right away. We can just get them going on these strength and conditioning things. Getting them on the Vibe, getting them on the treadmill, getting them on the eye care. On the days you're not working with them, they will continue to get better because that's what the neurologic system needs.
All right, thank you. Another question from an attendee. How often are you revisiting the consultations?
You know, that's really driven by communication from the physicians as far as if there's a set frequency, you know, is it every 6 months? Is it once a year? We encourage that. For us, we're watching for red flags so that we can then refer them back. We're not going to refer them back for things that we can, you know, handle here. That's true because they're in the community, they're where they're at, they have convenient front door parking, we're capable of doing those little things. And you should want us to do that because you need your appointment times for people that need that high skill, right? And so we're taking care of that and keeping them out of the physician's office. Yep, that's what you want. And so they're staying healthy, they're staying out of the office. They have less skin sores, they have less contractures, they have less secondary cardiovascular conditions. Yes, that's why you're not seeing them. And we know that, we have data on that. We know that we're making them healthier. Our patients lose considerable amounts of weight if they have weight to lose. So that's that's maybe why you're not seeing them as much if they're coming here, because they are healthier. But definitely encourage that once a year check-in, that every 6 month check-in, whatever that frequency is. And if we see red flags, we will for sure, we are trained, we are doctors of physical therapy. We are trained at that. We watch for those red flags and we make sure we send them.
All right. And then there was a question, but I think you addressed it in your presentation. It was, can you share your research on vibration therapy? And it sounds like that was anecdotal, if I remember correctly. Is that,
well, it was. There actually is a considerable body of evidence. If you just, do your search on vibration therapy and neurologic recovery, you will get some things. We haven't done research ourselves. It is somewhat anecdotal that we see that. But there is some research out there. I would love to see more research happen because we've seen it happen. And we don't change anything, but we add that. We just do 1 or 2 minute bouts, 3 bouts every time they're here. If that's something that fits in. And I will say that our vibration platform has been broken and it is working. It is working now. We just got it working yesterday. So you need to get on it. Decreased spasticity, increased bowel and bladder response, increased sensation. We've had total complete spinal cord injuries that have recovered considerable proprioception and sensation in their lower body. And all I can really say is that the vibration is the kind of the difference in their program.
all right. And then probably our last question here, as we're getting close to the end here. So one of the attendees said, I appreciate all you've done to promote opportunities for individuals living with neurological diagnoses in Minnesota. From your perspective, what can be done through the model system to establish a structure for the justification of exercise interventions delivered by exercise physiologists or exercise professionals? Yeah. Thinking specifically about the inherent barriers in the rehab continuing after traditional therapeutic interventions and resources have been exhausted, where can we move the needle for lifelong support and wellness? That was long, sorry.
That is long. So there's so much opportunity. And I think it really, from exercise as medicine and the ACSM to just things that are happening grassroots. I know I helped Allina encourage Kenny right before COVID, help move some legislation forward just to accept adaptive fitness as language so that we could then get it into some of the payment models. I actually understand where Medicare is coming from and the insurance companies are coming from a skilled therapy. Even though I'm a physical therapist and I would love to work with people forever, that is not really what I went to school for. I went to school to provide that really high level neurologic facilitation recovery. I mean, putting that list of what's skilled and what's unskilled is tough. But I would love to see highly skilled, high quality exercise specialty programs in neurologic and chronic disease management covered in some way. However, it is very difficult and it's a slippery slope and it's a conversation that we don't have time for. But there is forms of payment through waivers that are showing that this work is effective and keeping people healthier and out of the hospital and out of the doctor's offices. There's a lot of national and world work on this, trying to collect the data. People like me have a hard time really collecting the data alone because we're so busy doing the clinical stuff that we don't have time to analyze the data or even sometimes just making sure we get the data. There's struggles that's real in the clinical setting, but we're doing great care, but do we always document it? There's a lot of work that needs to happen there, but we need model centers and medical centers and research centers to work with us in the community because we can tell you it's working. We also can get extreme amounts of data, 2,000 visits a month. We can get extreme amounts of data. We would love to have some expertise on structuring that and collecting that data and then researching and publishing that data because the insurance companies and the state all say there's not enough evidence. Well, there's a lot of evidence out there. They just don't want to pay attention to it, but we need more, I guess, so we could get more.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Are you able to put that last slide up on your screen? That would be great. So thank you, Melanie, and thank you, Todd, for the excellent presentation and discussion today. And thank you to everybody for attending Grand Rounds. We apologize if not all questions were answered, but please feel free to reach out to Melanie if you have any additional questions that weren't answered. The recording for the webinar will be posted soon on our website. And as a reminder, please see the chat for information on how to obtain CME credit for attending today's webinar. At the end of the webinar, a brief 3-question survey will pop up. We would appreciate your feedback. We also hope you can join us for our next grand rounds on Thursday, September 1st at noon Central Time, where Dr. Mandy Miller will present osteopathic manipulative treatment to optimize pain and alignment for improvement in function and quality of life in individuals with spinal cord injury. Thank you all for joining us today and have a great rest of your day.